let me go out and show you what the end result was on these colors that I picked out. Okay, now I'm going to do the very end.
You just use the phrase "to each his own." I've never heard you unironically use that phrase.
I'm still recording.
You're a different person when you're on camera.
Yeah, I know.
It's embarrassing.
It's
not to each his own. If you don't paint your garage like you're living in the 1950s where you could still beat your wife and come home to dinner, you're gay.
Good evening and welcome to BarbWire Strategy. My name is Colonel Jim Ed Love, and you're watching the fourth show of Season 3 on painting and lighting. Now, this show has been divided into at least 2, maybe 3. The first show was on lighting in this episode, and now this show is on painting. Painting, specifically my shop. And in case you aren't aware of what this series is, these 5 shows, or rather probably, 10, 15 shows, the 5 beginning episodes of Season 3, it's on my wood shop. Briefly, I'll tell you, the roof collapsed, the ceiling collapsed whenever the pipes busted in February when we had a freeze here in Texas. I live here in Fort Worth, Texas, and here at the Ivory Tusk, and the pipes separated, it saturated the ceiling, the sheetrock, and it all fell in on my wood shop, which is also my garage, but we don't use it as a garage. It's a full-fledged wood shop. So that's where we are right now. So we're in the 4th film, and we're in the kind of the second part of it, talking about painting. Here is my paintbrush, so I can illustrate to you the fact that we're going to be talking about painting. Now, painting can be a great thing. A lot of people say, well, you paint your shop or paint your garage. Why put so much trouble into that? It's important to me because if you're going to spend a lot of time in your shop, then it's really important, especially if you're going to do creative design. If you're going to come up with your own projects, in other words. To me, it's important to be in an environment that isn't distracting. And I am the kind of guy that's easily distracted. If there's a noise or if there's some obnoxious music, if there's things that are out of place, my mind immediately goes to those things, and it's hard for me to concentrate on the things that I really want to concentrate on. So what I do is I try to put myself in the right environment. I paint the walls colors that are appeasing to me, and I don't give it any other thought. Once it's done, and once it's done to my satisfaction, then it's one less thing to worry about or to be a distraction. So my point is, picking out colors for your walls, for this, it wasn't that difficult. For me, it wasn't a big problem because I'm starting off with a color that I picked out to begin with, and you have to watch my series on my ceiling, which is 5 films, the ones before this paint and light part. And here's a sample of the steel ceiling that I put up in my garage. If you haven't watched those, then I'll leave a link here at the top, and you can watch all the ceiling videos from 1 through 5. So I had the color, I'd already picked out the color, this aqua color, for my ceiling. So I'm already starting with a color that I found appeasing, that I thought would look good on my ceiling. And then from there, I went over to Sherwin-Williams. Sherwin-Williams, now let me say a brief word about Sherwin-Williams. I really like Sherwin-Williams. Now, they haven't done anything that's pissed me off, like a lot of companies have. A lot of big companies have pissed me off, and I won't shop at them anymore. And I do shop at Lowe's and Home Depot some whenever I need something that's fast and easy. I prefer not to get my paint from Lowe's or Home Depot, not because their paint is bad or their service necessarily is bad, but the service is mediocre, and it's not the employee's fault. It's the fault of the management of both Lowe's and Home Depot. They just don't put a great concentration or value on service. However, Sherwin-Williams does put a great value on that service and supreme customer service. They were very polite, very nice. I can't say enough nice things, and I don't have time in this video to really go over how great Sherwin-Williams is. They're not paying me. I'm doing this voluntarily as a customer who happens to like their company. And anytime I find a company that I don't like, I'm more than happy to complain about it and tell everybody about it. And I'm also, when I find companies that I do admire and like, I'm more than willing to promote them and to encourage people to buy from them. Sherwin-Williams, to me, is a company that provides the kind of customer service, and the layout of the store is really nice too. They provide the kind of customer service that all hardware stores used to deliver. But we don't live in 1950 anymore, or 1960 or 1970 even. We live in the age of, well, an age that I find to be really nasty. So I started off with a color to begin with that I liked. And then when I went over to Sherwin-Williams, Alexander and I went over there, we decided that we wanted to kind of stick with, because this kind of reminds me of the 1950s, we decided that we would go along with some colors that also complemented this aqua color. And so we first picked out the wall color, and that's this honeybee yellow. And if you look right here, you see honey. So this is the color that we picked for the walls. And I thought that this went well together as a blend. It's honeybee yellow. I at first didn't think that I'd want yellow walls in my wood shop or garage. Some people might say it looks a little sissy, but to me, it looks like the 1950s, which is cool. And remember, hot pink was cool for guys in the 1950s. For the trim, I went back with this color. I had them match this color. That's why I cut this piece out so that Sherwin-Williams could match it. And then for the doors, we went with this green called Honeydew. After we got this, started doing this, we needed a trim. Now, of course, the trim will be done in this color. So I had them copy this color for me. But then I needed something for the doors. And so for the doors, we went right over here to Honeydew. And I thought this went well. And I still do think it went well. And as you see, I think, and Alexander's the one that found these, I think that these three complement themselves very well. But, to each his own. A lot of people might not like it. You paint your garage whatever the hell color you want to paint it. Because you know what? This is still, despite what the Democrats say, this is still not a communist country yet. And we can all do whatever the hell we want to do, despite what the government wants to force down our throats or up our butts. I'm getting to politics again, which is coming very soon in a video. As soon as I get through with these shop videos, I'm chomping at the bit to talk about politics. But right now, we're still talking about paint and the shop. So
Did you see the Texas GOP came out with a letter telling Greg Abbott to ban vaccine mandates for employers?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Any response from him?
No.
No, obviously not.
It's Greg Abbott, bought and paid for him.
Yeah, rhino. Okay, I'm going to do the second ending for paint. Well, as much as I hate to do this, every now and then you have to give the devil his due. This recording was made on October the 8th, and on October the 11th, which was a Monday, Governor Abbott came out with a statement, and the news article says, Governor Abbott on Monday issued another executive order cracking down on COVID-19 vaccine mandates, this time banning any entity in Texas, including private businesses, from requiring vaccinations for employees or customers. Abbott also called on the legislature to pass a law with the same effect, promising to rescind the executive order once that happened. The legislature is in this year's third legislative session, which ends October 19th. Well, we'll see if anything comes of that legislatively wise. Governor Abbott finally, of course, so everybody asked me, they said, what did you think of Governor Abbott doing the executive order? And I said, nah. And all of my smoking buddies said, what? Aren't you happy? I said, yeah, but it's something he should have done a month ago or two. I mean, there's already been people laid off in Texas due to this ridiculous mandate stuff. Anyway, I just thought I'd throw this update in and give the devil his due. He did come back after we made this recording on the 8th, and I called him a rhino, which I still say he's a rhino because I can give you case after case. I mean, yeah, he lifted the mask mandate in Texas, but then again, he also put it in place. He never should have put the damn thing in place to begin with. Anyway, every now and then, a rhino is forced. Even Lindsey Graham came out for Donald Trump briefly briefly for a while. Rhinos, every now and then, if you put a gun to their head, a political gun that is, and force them to do the right thing, then a rhino will do the right thing eventually. You can tell I'm not a big Abbott fan. But I guess we'll see how this next race comes out for the governorship of Texas. Right now, I'm looking at two of the other candidates that seem to be a lot more conservative. I want a solid conservative for Texas. A solid conservative, red meat guy sitting in Austin as governor of Texas. Okay, that's all the politics for now. I'll see you next time. I hope you enjoyed the film, and make sure you watch the next one, part 2 of my painting film on painting the shop, the wood shop. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.